ever had a moment when everything seemed perfect, only for one thing to turn your world upside down? When powerful people make decisions that change everything for you, but the real twist is yet to come. This is the story of the moment one man shook Hollywood to its core. You won't want to miss this. Dear listeners, please subscribe my channel to achieve goal 1000 number. In a world where everyone's trying to keep up with the latest trends, climb the social ladder, or play the game of appearances, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. Many of us feel that pressure, whether it's the expectation of success, wealth, or influence. Society can make us feel like we're constantly not enough. And Hollywood, with its glitz and glamour, is often seen as the ultimate stage of success, where the elites sit at the top, controlling narratives and shaping culture. But Clint Eastwood, he's never been one to play by those rules. He doesn't care for the fame or the accolades. He's about something deeper, about real conversations, real people, and keeping it honest. Clint has always had this raw, unapologetic nature, and it's something that's become more powerful in recent years. While the world around him shifts, Clint remains steady, refusing to bow down to the Hollywood elite. And that's where things get interesting. Just recently, Clint Eastwood found himself in the middle of an explosive rant that turned heads and sent shockwaves through the industry. He wasn't pulling punches, nor was he trying to win any popularity contest. His words were raw, real, and they cut straight through the pretentiousness that so often surrounds Hollywood. It was a statement long overdue, a statement that finally aired out the frustrations of someone who has seen it all. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just Clint voicing his own grievances. He was speaking for those of us who've always felt like outsiders, those who have been tired of watching the same group of elites shape our culture, dictate our values, and call the shots on what's considered acceptable. Clint's words didn't come out of nowhere. For years, he's watched Hollywood evolve, but not always for the better. In fact, it seemed like the more the industry claimed to evolve, the more it became obsessed with superficial values, image, politics, and following trends instead of creating art. The constant push to please the elites, the critics, and the powerful, while disregarding what truly resonates with the audience, that's what Clint was done with. And that's what made this rant so powerful. During his interview, Clint didn't mince words. He talked about how the industry had lost touch with real people. He pointed out how actors and filmmakers, once hailed as authentic storytellers, were now too afraid to speak their minds or take creative risks for fear of angering the wrong people. In Clint's eyes, the heart of cinema, the one thing that made it so impactful, was dying. Hollywood was more concerned with appeasing a small group of powerful elites, catering to their interests, rather than speaking to the everyday person. And Clint's frustration was real. It wasn't just about Hollywood anymore. It was about a deeper, more systemic issue. How the elites in power, whether in entertainment, politics, or any other sphere, had grown so disconnected from the real struggles people face. They were crafting narratives to protect their own image, not telling stories that mattered. In Clint's words, it became clear. The system is broken. The stories that need to be told are being silenced in favor of whatever will make the elites more money and keep them in control. He wasn't just talking about Hollywood. He was talking about society itself. He was calling out the people who, for too long, had kept the reins of power, and he was demanding that it stop. What made Clint's rant even more powerful was the fact that it wasn't coming from a young, fiery up-and-comer trying to make a name for himself. No, This was Clint Eastwood, a man who's seen it all, who has spent decades in Hollywood, making movies that have shaped American cinema. He's earned his stripes. He's already cemented his legacy. And yet, he still felt the need to speak out, not for fame, but for truth. Clint's career is built on being an outsider, an anti-hero, and a rebel in many ways. From his early days in westerns to his iconic roles in action films, he's always played characters who stood up against the establishment, who took matters into their own hands when the system failed. Now, here he was, doing the same in real life. He wasn't just a character on screen anymore. He was the voice of the disillusioned, the frustrated, and the forgotten. And that's why his words carried so much weight. Hollywood, for all its brilliance and creativity, had become a playground for the rich and powerful, where the voices of those who truly mattered, the ones who buy the tickets and make the industry thrive, had been drowned out. Clint wasn't just pointing fingers. He was giving a voice to the audience, to the people who were tired of the same recycled narratives that only served to flatter the elites. In a way, Clint's rant was a call to action. He wasn't suggesting that Hollywood needed to burn down, but rather that it needed a rebirth, a return to its roots, to the stories that connect us, that challenge us, and that make us question the status quo. Clint's message was clear. Hollywood's power didn't lie in the hands of the elites. It belonged to the people. And the people were tired of being ignored. After Clint's explosive comments, something surprising happened. People started to listen. It wasn't just the critics or the so-called rebels in Hollywood who were paying attention. It was the everyday people, the fans, the ones who spent their hard-earned money on movie tickets, streaming services, and DVDs. For the first time in a long time, Clint had tapped into a conversation that went beyond the screen. This wasn't just about the elite few anymore. Clint had sparked a larger conversation about the state of entertainment and media. The public, who had been silently observing the industry's antics for years, now found themselves with a voice. Social media exploded with comments and debates. The people who had felt unheard for so long suddenly found solidarity in Clint's words. Data supported this shift. According to a recent survey, nearly 60% of moviegoers felt disconnected from the content coming out of Hollywood in recent years. They felt like they were being sold movies, not made part of meaningful conversations. In fact, one study revealed that audiences, especially younger generations, were turning away from traditional Hollywood films because they felt the industry was too focused on virtue signaling, politics, and appeasing the elites, rather than telling authentic human stories. Clint's rant didn't just resonate because of what he said. It struck a chord because it reflected the collective frustration that so many felt. It gave voice to those who had long been silenced, ignored, or simply brushed aside by an industry that seemed more interested in pushing agendas than telling compelling, real stories. For the first time in a long time, it felt like Clint was reminding everyone that movies are supposed to be a mirror to society, not a megaphone for the powerful. Clint Eastwood's rant didn't just shake Hollywood. It started a ripple effect that spread far beyond the movie industry. His words became the spark that lit a fire of introspection within both the entertainment world and the audience it served. People began to question the movies they were watching, the stories they were consuming, and the values that were being promoted. It wasn't just a Hollywood problem, it was a cultural one. The days of simply accepting whatever Hollywood handed out to us were over. Clint had made sure of that. He had raised the stakes. And with that, something remarkable happened. A wave of filmmakers, actors, and creators began to speak out too. Many of them, inspired by Clint's courage, started to push back against the system, offering fresh and bold perspectives on stories that mattered. A shift started to take place, one that recognized the power of the audience once more. Hollywood wasn't just a playground for the rich and powerful anymore. It was beginning to look more like the place it was always meant to be, a place where stories are told that connect, challenge, and inspire. It was a reminder that the people who buy the tickets, watch the films, and keep the lights on are just as important as the ones who make the movies. And they had a voice, too. Clint Eastwood, once again, proved that it only takes one voice to change the course of history. In this case, it wasn't a political statement or a social movement. It was a reminder of the simple truth that art, real art, is meant to tell stories that matter to the people, not just the elites. Hollywood may have been blind to it for a while, but thanks to Clint, the world was finally waking up to the truth. The power of entertainment lies in its ability to reflect reality, not just the dreams of the few. And maybe, just maybe, that's what will drive the next era of cinema. An era where the voices of the people once again reign supreme.